Well, hi once again, everybody. Welcome to this very special edition, what promises to be a very special edition of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, coming to you from the great Rigel Studios right in the heart of Las Vegas. And our weather today is cold, it's windy, we've got a little rain going on, so I hope wherever you're watching from, you've got some good weather and you're going to be able to get out and play golf. And which reminds me, we're on various social media platforms. So please give us a like, please subscribe to the channel and stuff, and get a hold of us. You have our email. We always love hearing from you. I have had, as you've been following me, all of the Republican gubernatorial candidates on for the state of Nevada, and today is no exception. We have a lovely young lady. She's the only woman that is in the race, and I want to tell you about Michelle Fiore right now before we bring her on camera. Michelle was born in Brooklyn. So I think I got to do that. People from Brooklyn do that. Brooklyn, New York, and has lived here in the great state of Nevada since 1993. Michelle has over 3 decades of business and entrepreneurial experience. Michelle was the CEO of a construction firm and a home healthcare company, and also now has a consulting company and publishing firm. She is a member of the Las Vegas City Council since 2017, representing Ward 6. And I'm sure all the people from Ward 6 are watching, and stays very active in the community as well through various events. Michelle sits on several community boards, including the LVCVA, Las Vegas Visitors and Conventions Visitors Authority, which is very important here in Southern Nevada. In January 2018, Michelle was elected as the Republican National Committee woman for the entire state of Nevada, which is very cool. 2 terms in the Nevada legislature for District 4 from 2012 to 2016. Michelle is a huge proponent and supporter of the Second Amendment, which we will get into in a little bit. So anyway, let me now bring up Michelle Fiore, and it's so nice having you on the show. I know you're extremely busy campaigning, raising money, city council, all of that kind of stuff. So thank you for taking time out to come on the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's really exciting to be here with you, Dennis.
My pleasure. You have run for U.S. Congress.
I have.
In the past. Mm-hmm. You have served in the Nevada Assembly, which I just mentioned. You are serving on the city council right now. With all of that, what do you think that experience brings to the table? How is that going to help you in your race to become governor of the state of Nevada?
Well, I have a fabulous voting record. And when I talk about my voting record, when I was the Assemblywoman for District 4, I passed 96 pieces of legislation, important to Nevadans, important across the United States. I worked with our previous governor, Brian Sandoval. So working with the governor, working in our legislature, and working in the city, creating ordinances and policy is very important, because everything you do as an elected official really affects the people of Nevada.
Right. True. Mm-hmm. Very true.
And everything is about their freedoms, right? Not being a Gestapo, not being a bossy elected official, but literally helping the people through life so their life can be enhanced, not hindered.
How do you think and I don't think this is an unfair question because you have the experience, but how do you think the legislature today is compared to when you were in the legislature?
So my last session,
across the aisle and that type of thing.
So my last session was 2015, and I work across the aisle very well, actually. And it's funny because when you talk to people, I'm going to give you the most liberal, progressive, elected Democrat that if you were to ask him, how was it to work with Michelle Fiore? He would say, she's the coolest Republican I know. And that's Senator Tick-Zickerbloom.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm on the right, he's on the left.
Right.
And I mean, yeah. So, you know, when people are people, and you really have to love people, but stand your ground, you know, stick to your guns, and fight for your constituents. So in the legislature in 2015, now remember, we had both houses and the governor's mansion, right?
Correct.
We had both. And I fought my butt off, and all we needed was 15 assembly members to kill that business commerce tax. And we had the 15, but 3 of them peeled off, hid, like literally hid outside of the building, hid from me, because I was going to drag them by the hair into that damn chamber and make them vote against that tax bill. And don't forget, in 15, I was elected the first female Republican majority leader, right, of the Republican Party. So, but I wasn't going to pass that business commerce tax. So that created a lot of problems. Brian Sandoval and I were on the front page fighting over his little tax plan. And, you know, and it doesn't matter. Like, it's not okay when you hurt business in the state of Nevada.
Not good at all.
And now, so from that session to this session, well, you know, things are going to change. I'm going to tell you in 2022. We're looking at a big red wave. Right now, the Democrats have all the houses, and I expect to pick up 2 houses in 2022. So I expect to move into the governor's mansion, and I expect to pick up the Senate.
That would be great. That would be very, very good.
And we're going to work diligently on the assembly. I'm not going to overpass the assembly members. We're going to work diligently. There's some really great assembly candidates running out there, but because of the redistricting, and this is when they redistrict hard enough to make sure they seated more numbers democratically across our lines.
Great point. I was gonna ask you about that. Let's get into some specific issues, though, Michelle, that are on the minds, I think, of most Nevadans all through the state.
Of course,
Southern Nevada and Northern Nevada. First, let's talk about the homeless people. The homeless population, it has become a real issue all through the state, but especially here in Clark County. You see incidents happening all of the time, where to the point where I know people that are working on the strip that see just horrible things, and they talk to people, they go, this is too much for me. I mean, it, you know, may not come back. Once you get the governorship, what the hell are you going to do about the homeless population here? Why do you think it is becoming more and more prevalent? What's driving it? What's the root cause of this?
So let me tell you, number one, being a city councilwoman, the former mayor pro tem, we work with our homeless diligently. We have our corridor of hope, and we have a lot that we do with them, along with like our MORE programs. And so when we work with folks that are homeless, we want to find out, do they need temporary housing? Why don't they want to go there? So, and again, it takes 2 of us, right? It takes 2 of us. So if the homeless person decides to go, like you say in Brooklyn, right? I don't want you near me, get away from me. It takes us like many efforts, sometimes 8 to 10 efforts before they'll literally talk to us and let us help them. Now, what I'm going to tell you about the homeless population is this Governor Sisolak did us no favors with all these mandates. I want you to understand what's happening right now. We have big mandates that if you do not get vaccinated, you are forced to resign from our universities, to our schools, to our hospitals. Now understand what that means. And your golfing buddy, Joe, has taken part in that too by forcing his new officers to get vaccinated, which is totally unconstitutional, number one. Number two, when you are forcing people to get vaccinated or they must resign, the ripple effect that has now come to play is because they were forced to resign, unemployment is now denying their claims, okay?
Right.
So, and this is all, and so when you have folks, right, that are running for office, that are saying, I'm going to fix the state, but the biggest problem, and I'm just going to, I'm sorry, I'm going to poke him until he fixes it. Sheriff Joe Lombardo, biggest problem. He's the sheriff. He's got 5,000 cops and faculty members, and he's mandating vaccines to his new officers. Sorry, but unless you negotiate with the unions, that's in their union contract, you cannot do that. And then secondly, another thing your buddy's doing is he is denying death benefits for his officers that are getting COVID and dying. So Joe has a big problem, and I'm poking him and poking him and poking him, and I'm going to continue to poke him until he stops that nonsense. His officers should not be forced to get vaccinated, nor should he deny a death benefit for officers that have been on that force.
Okay. And I understand that, and that's a very specific point, but let's talk about Sheriff Joe Lombardo. Obviously, being a cop for as long as he has, he's got lots of experience, it seems to me, and a lot of other people in that area as far as, quote, law and order. What are you going to do to implement in the state to keep Nevadans safe? And how are you going to help all the various police agencies, within the state to stay safer, give them more money, give them what they need? I mean, let's face it, vaxxed or not, Joe's got a hell of a lot of experience in this area.
Joe hasn't experienced being a cop. So Joe's our millionaire cop. So let's just get it straight. Joe is a police officer, and he has experience in policing. You want to talk about experience in being a legislature and running the state. Joe does not have that. Matter of fact, in order to keep the state safer, have you ever heard an armed society is a polite society? To where you actually help people get their CCWs and don't turn them away,
right,
or don't deny them, or
right,
don't take meetings, or, well, he's done that. So he's really hindered our concealed weapons permit groups, and so that's number one. So you keep a safe society, an armed society is a safe society and a polite society, number one. Number two, talking about Joe, as a legislature who literally sponsored many Second Amendment bills, Joe has a record of opposing Second Amendment bills at the state legislature. So he's, I know he'll tell you, I've been carrying a gun for 30 years on my hip. You don't think I'm pro-Second Amendment? Listen, honey, you can carry a gun on your hip for 30 years, but that doesn't mean you want other people to carry a gun on their hip. So don't even play it, right? So that's called deflecting. So he deflects the question. Joe is very weak on the Second Amendment, period. He is not very nice to his officers by denying their families death benefits for the COVID once they have passed. And he shouldn't be mandating his own with the vaccine. And understand, we went from homeless to this. Why? Because when people lose their jobs because they're not vaccinated and it was mandated, don't you think they're going to lose their houses?
Yeah, that's true. They have no income and they can't pay their bills.
So Joe is not beginning with the end in mind.
They're going to be out. They're going to be out on the street. All right, before we take our first break, Michelle, let's talk about tourism. Obviously, the lifeblood of Southern Nevada, particularly here in Las Vegas, and in the whole state. You're on the board of the LVCVA. Here they've done, do you think they have done the best job they are capable of doing as far as getting tourists back, getting conventions back, getting events back? And as governor, what would you do to entice those types of groups back to the state, to come here, spend money, maybe even move here eventually? So, have they done a good job so far in your opinion?
They have. But I will tell you, I am very biased to Rossi because, he's old school. Very old school.
Real old school.
Real old school. And so Steve Hill is doing a phenomenal job. But again, once I become the governor, our lieutenant governor used to handle tourism before they took it away. Right. And I think that is an absolute perfect job for a lieutenant governor, especially because they can work with the LVCVA. Correct. And they can travel and they can make folks come here and we can do business deals and, we can, like Tesla and land and, all of these things. Instead of coming from the economic department, I think the lieutenant governor needs to be a big part of that, a big part of tourism to help the LVCVA. But the LVCVA, all in all, is doing great. I've traveled with the LVCVA abroad. And just the 4 trips that we did, I think we signed like 2 point something billion with a B contracts of people coming in. So a lot of people don't realize what they do behind the scenes, but they work it.
Wow, that's awesome. No,
and we're looking at 50 million tourists here in this next fiscal year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
That's fantastic. All right, I'll tell you what, we're going to step away, take a short break here on the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. We come back, we're going to have a lot more with our very special guest, gubernatorial candidate, Michelle Fiore, originally from
Brooklyn,
New York. Stay with us.
When I first learned about Encore, I was a little taken back because I didn't know much about the ball. I went out and played a couple rounds with it, and I was just extremely surprised how this ball made up for what I was looking for in a golf ball 20 years ago. It's a very straight ball. It launches a little higher than other balls that I've used, which is ideal for the tour because we're playing firm and fast greens. A lot of the balls do fly very similar, but this ball reacts so much differently around the greens and inside 100 yards than any other ball I've ever played. The combination of this ball is the best ball that I've ever played.
Hey golfers, I've been a golf talk show host for a long time, and I've been playing golf even longer. Being in golf media, I've had the chance to play every ball ever made. I've tried them all. Well, my search is finally over because I found the best ball I have ever played with, and more golfers are finding the same thing. I started playing with the Elixir golf ball made by Encore Golf. Encore Golf has revolutionized both their golf balls, the Elixir or the Avant 55, or the brand new Vero X1, to where the performance of either will simply blow you away. It did me. If you're looking for better performance and durability with your ball, Encore Golf has it. Don't just take my word for it. Check them out at encoregolf.com and you'll become convinced, as I am, the first time you tee it up with Encore. It's the best performing ball for the price. Go to encoregolf.com and see for yourself. Your scorers will love you for it. That's ONCORE golf.com. Well, we are back, everybody, with continuation of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. Our very special guest, City Councilwoman Michelle Fiore, who is running for the governorship of the state of Nevada. And I was going to say, Michelle, obviously one of the questions that I have to ask you is, number one, what made you want to run for Nevada's governor, other than the fact that our current governor is terrible?
Yes. So the first,
and I'm not afraid to say that.
Yes, the first and number one reason our current governor needs to go. However, I sat back and I watched as the men got in this race, and I know the majority of them. And my team and I spent 3 months polling all 17 counties.
Oh, really?
So my commercial that's out there, you know, ban vaccine mandates, ban critical race theory, and end voter fraud. This is what's important to Nevadans. And when you have folks, right, that are mandating vaccines, that's running for governor, your friend Joe Lombardo mandating vaccines, then you have Never Trumpers running for governor, right? Then you have Democrat that switched to Republican 20 days before he announced. And then you have a millionaire from another country that lived in California. I think his wife and kids still go to school in California. He has a house in Reno.
He's in Reno.
And
cool commercial, though.
Cool commercial. Never voted as a Republican in the state.
Other than can't get a hold of them, but
but it doesn't matter. It's like Nevada. You don't get to buy the seat of governor here in Nevada. You got to be a Nevadan to be the Nevada governor, period. So, I mean, you've got him, you've got a punch-drunk boxer, you've got, you've got, what else do we have? I mean, we have an eclectic group in this race, Dennis.
We really do.
We have a doctor that ran for Congress in California, lost his booty, and he's coming here to run for governor. Go back to California. Like, I'm sorry to be rude, but I'm real. It's like, please, you just stop. Yeah. And who else do you want to talk about?
All right. Well, let me just say that, and that kind of brings me into my next question. What separates Michelle Fiore primarily from the rest of the candidates that are running?
My voting
record.
Other
than you're obviously the best looking and the only female, but what separates you as far as philosophy, as far as rolling up your sleeves, and as far as wanting to get out there and kick some ass?
That's right. Well, I do kick ass. So understand that. So, and here's the thing. I have a decade of a record of kicking ass. So when our Nevadans are here in trouble, just like I'll bring up, when the federal government came out here all armed and shooting up cattle out in Bunkerville, who was there? Me as a first-term assemblywoman standing with the people of Nevada, and we won, right? It took us a couple of years, but we won. Who else was there, right? Your friend was there as an undersheriff. Yeah. Crocodile tears in the courtroom, saying, oh my God, I thought my men were gonna die. Are you kidding me? You had red dots all over our chest. You thought your men were gonna die. Just lie, just lie. So here's the thing. What separates me from the folks in this race, number one, like it or not, you're gonna get the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to get the truth. Number two, I'm going to fight for you and defend you. We're ending vaccine mandates. You're not going to lose your job for that. We are the critical race theory. I mean, that is literally a constructive division of this country to keep black and white separated, to keep hate going. Forget it. My uncle, my mom's brother is black. I was raised in, multicultural family. My mom's gay. I mean, I can go on and on. So, it's about loving thy neighbor. And you know what Martin Luther King said? And you know what really kills me? And I'm just going to say it, Dennis. Black Lives Matter. Do you think Martin Luther King would be, what did he say? It's about the character, not the color of your skin. And now you're Black Lives Matter. I mean, go back to the MLK days, listen to Martin Luther King, and it's about your character, not your color. And so white folks, black folks, they don't want to say it. I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to stand and I'm unapologetic about it. So don't ever say, oh my God, she offended me. Well, put your big girl panties on, because that's what you're going to get with me as a governor.
Yeah, no, that's well said, and I agree with a lot of your points. Let's turn to this a little bit, and I'm very interested to get your thoughts, because you've been there in Carson City up close and personal. How do you think the budget in this state is being handled?
Poorly.
Not enough, too much, a lot of fat to be cut. Where do you see trimming, and where do you see adding money to additional resources, putting the money smartly into the budget? How do you feel about that? Where would you do that?
So I have to tell you, 2015, we had a big team on this when we were fighting the commerce business tax. The governor wanted Governor Brian Sandoval wanted $1.2 billion more in the budget, and he was calling it for education and stuff like that. But what people don't realize is our public safety budget, right, which includes all of the prisons that are not operational, that cost millions and millions and millions of dollars to operate. When you look at housing people that have not gone before the courts, housing people that are, maybe first-time offenders, things like this. We look at, and then the prisons. So when we look at our public safety budget, there is so much fat in that budget that we can fix and spend where we don't have to raise taxes. And, we've picked this apart in 2015, so I'm going to have to pick it apart. I'm going to give you a great example.
Okay.
2015, and we have like 32 different accounts in the state, just so you understand. So there's budgets everywhere. So I was reading this line item, and John Ralston had just started a show with PBS with Dana Gentry. And it was, and by the way, people are not going to believe this, but Dana, who is probably not a fan of mine. Maybe she is, but she got that contract for John. Never got credit for that. So I just want to point that out. I know that, right? So understand, John starts a PBS show, and what's in our state budget? Are you ready for this? $600,000 for John Ralston. Now, in the budget, it doesn't say John Ralston. It said PBS something. Well, as I started digging and digging and digging and digging, come to find out they're funding, they were, whatever they wanted to call it, okay? So they brought it down to $300,000. Now, Johnny Boy, I call that guy Johnny Boy because he's such a schmuck. Anyway, so Johnny Boy, okay, had a little conniption when I said something on Twitter. And what did he do? He stomped his little feet, his little Twitter feet, and said, she's lying, and ended the tweeters, between us. Whatever, dude. Listen, I'm not going to lie. You're going to attack me. I'm going to attack you back. And if you don't like it, like if you can't dish it out,
You got to be able to take it.
You got to be able to take it. Yeah.
Yeah. That is.
Yeah. So understand there is a lot of waste in our state budget for family and friends. I call it the family and friend budget. So we're cutting that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that as far as the budget goes. Before we take our next break, would you? A lot of people have been critical of the governor. Not spending as much time, not living in the so-called mansion in Carson City. How much time would you spend there as opposed to keeping your home here in Southern Nevada?
So understand that the legislature...
And I think that's wrong, by the way.
Okay.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I think your governor, you should live there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I understand.
Rent your house out here or something, but that's not the way it works here, folks.
But do you know why?
No.
Let me tell you why. Because we have every other year sessions, right?
Correct.
So our Assembly and State Senate are only in session 6 months every other year.
Right.
And that's when all the legislation gets passed. But I'm going to tell you, in between all that time, so he has a governor's office here on Washington.
Right.
We have many interim committees, right, that we sit on. Even though session is out, we have interim committees prepping for our next session. So there are a lot to do as the governor. Now, I will tell you, as the governor of the state, once I become your governor of the state, I will be going through all 17 counties. So my permanent residence as the governor will be in Carson City, right? Will be in Carson City. And I will spend time in Las Vegas. My 7 grandchildren are here. My 2 children are here. So I will spend time in Las Vegas, not full-time in Las Vegas, majority of my time in Carson City, in the governor's mansion. However, understand that a lot of governors that don't live up north, that live down here, just work there when session's in session, and that's why he does it. Yeah,
it's a very, very interesting situation here in the state of Nevada as opposed to other states. All right, tell you what, we're going to step away again, take another short break, and we come back. We're going to wrap it up with our special guest, Michelle Fiore, who's running for governor of the great state of Nevada. So stay with us. Back with you right after this.
One of the buzzwords happening in golf is the word lag. You hear it all the time, but what is it, and how do I get it? Lag simply is the loading of the club to help produce tons of power in your golf swing. Up until now, getting lag into your swing has been very hard. Introducing the lag shot, a brand new proven training aid being praised by some of the leading PGA Tour instructors across the globe. This practice aid trains your hands, arms and body how to make a powerful, efficient golf swing with an amazing amount of lag. Lag Shot is a 7-iron length club with the same loft and lie with a whippy, flexible blue shaft and a beautiful jet black club head. After you master the Lag Shot, your game will change forever with a stress-free swing, more power and more distance with lower scores every time you play. Go to lagshotgolf.com and you'll see why this truly is becoming the #1 training aid in golf. Visit lagshotgolf.com. As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence (AI) has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, we are back. Once again, everybody, finishing up the show with our great guest, Michelle Fiore, who's a gubernatorial candidate, having a scintillating discussion. I don't know what that word means, but I like saying it's scintillating discussion. You've mentioned the lieutenant governor, somebody that the governor obviously has to work with. Are you aware, do you know anything about the people that are running for lieutenant governor?
I do.
Your good friend, probably Debbie March from Henderson, just threw her hat in the ring recently. How important is the compatibility, for lack of a better term, as far as a lieutenant governor? What do you know about these folks? Because
So,
there's a fair number that are running as well.
Yes, there's right now, so who I know is running right now is Dan Schwartz,
Right.
Stavros Anthony,
Right.
former police officer, and Captain, and Deborah March, and I think there's a couple others going to be jumping in. But what I'm going to tell you is the relationship between the LG and the governor is extremely important. Extremely important. Now, I will tell you, this particular administration, there was no relationship there. There was no love lost between Sisolak and Kate Marshall. She's gone. She's in Washington, and frankly, I'm just going to be frank with you. The governor was a total jerk off to her. Like total jerk off, kept her quiet, kept her in a hole and didn't have her do anything. But why is the lieutenant governor position so important? Number one, they run the Senate. Number two, if it's a tie vote, they vote.
Right.
Okay, so they break the tie. So you need to make sure that you're working with the lieutenant governor with your sights in mind. And you need to make sure that your lieutenant governor loves their position as well. And together, when you have a lieutenant governor and a governor that work together, there is nothing this state cannot accomplish.
I agree.
Yeah, so, that's how it is.
I totally agree. When you get into to Carson City and they say, Governor Fiore, we're giving you a genie comes out of a bottle or something like that. We're giving you one thing right now that you can do to this state to make it better. What would you say?
We're ending vaccine mandates right now, and everyone that lost their job because they were forced to get vaccinated, they have to be offered their position back. That is just not okay. And understand why. This was all because of our Gestapo governor that likes control and likes power, literally mandating these.
Yes.
Not okay. Not okay.
I was talking with somebody on the way here, and we were kind of comparing Governor Sisolak to kind of taking his marching orders from Governor of California. I mean, just...
Well, listen.
It is what it is.
You say that, but you know Sam Shad, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sheriff Joe Lombardo was just on Sam Shad a couple of weeks ago. And what does Joe Lombardo say to Sam Shad? I'm going to listen to the people that Governor Sisolak listens to. So Sheriff Joe, oh yeah, and it's on tape, honey. Trust but verify. Trust me but verify. Watch it. Watch Sam Shad's show with Joe Lombardo. So let me tell you. So we're going to have Newsom and Lombardo hanging out now. Like, that's what you're going to have. Joe Lombardo, a vote for Joe Lombardo is a vote for Newsom, period. I'm just going to say it. Sorry. Not so sorry. Sorry, not so sorry.
as you know, and I'm sure you know, he's doing pretty damn well in the polls. How do you explain that?
Oh, he's spending a lot of money. Let me tell you something. If I spend as much as Joe wouldn't be anywhere. So Joe is spending a lot of money. Okay. Period. Joe is spending a lot of money.
It takes money. It takes time. It takes energy. It takes whatever. It takes a lot of money to run for an office like this. What are you doing to raise money?
So we dial for dollars daily. We raised $500,000 in our first 5 weeks. We're raising another $500,000. Yeah, by the end of the year. So we know what we need to get out of the primary dollars wise and vote wise, and we are working specifically on those targets.
Okay.
Oh, it takes a lot of money.
How much time are you spending in Northern Nevada? It's just important.
We're doing.
They have people up there too.
Oh, absolutely. And first of all, you have to understand, as the Republican National Committee woman, I'm in all 17 counties anyway.
True.
Yeah, so I spend a lot of time in my counties. So I'll be up in Northern Nevada in January. And so I have a lot of friends in Northern Nevada, in Nye County. I mean, just everywhere. Everywhere I go, I love Nevada. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
Who wouldn't?
Let's, I believe what separates the men from the boys, as I like to say, is the filing period. When is it? In March, when you really have to step up and actually file and say, I'm in the game. How do you think that's going to go? You see
I think
people dropping out?
Yeah, I think a few people are going to drop. I do. I think, and it's funny because I waited and I watched and I did polls. I'm a data girl, data, numbers. And I watched these guys get in, and none of them are suitable to be the governor of Nevada. That's why I jumped in. Period.
What is your discussions, if you could say, been like with the guys that you have met at different events, say in Northern Nevada? You've met all of the other candidates. What is your discussion like?
Very positive, like very, very positive. There was a couple of people that said, Michelle, why didn't you tell me you were getting in? And I said, because I couldn't say a word until we had our data correct, right? Until we had everything right. And they said, well, I told this guy that I would support him. And I said, good, well, now you tell that guy that I didn't know Michelle was getting in the race, and now she's in the race and I'm supporting her. And they said, you're right. I'm going to have to be truthful with him. So I've gotten that several times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's one of the reasons I like politics so much, is that everybody is so different. Their thinking is different. Their philosophies are different. Their beliefs are different. Now, whether you could put that into action and make that a reality, that's really the bottom line, isn't it?
It is the bottom line.
You can be wishful all day long, but if you don't have the wherewithal, if you don't have the people working with you, it ain't gonna happen.
So, and here's the thing: I don't talk, Dennis. I don't talk. I have a voting record from the state assembly to show you what I say is true. I have a voting record as your sitting city councilwoman, former mayor pro tem, to show you. Listen, Joe Lombardo has 5,000 officers and faculty staff. City of Las Vegas has 3,600. City of Las Vegas isn't mandating vaccines. We're not forcing our people to resign if they don't get vaccinated. So when people go, well, what have you been doing? Well, I'm going to tell you what I've been doing. Our people are not losing their jobs where Joe's people are. So when you're the governor of this state and you need to create jobs, create jobs. Don't be laying people off by forced resignation to then only be denied by unemployment because you resigned, okay? So that's the bottom line. And people need to share this video and get it out, because I am the only candidate in this race that will stand up for you and fight for you.
And we certainly hope that you share this, when,
I'm going to share
it
all over.
Not to add fuel to the fire, but what do you think of our governor coming out? And I'm sure that you have read it. He was very apologetic for, what was it, a century ago, of having to move, the indigenous people out of Nevada or replace them or something like that. Are you aware of that? I mean, it came out of nowhere.
Yes, I'm aware of this. And I'm aware that he apologized.
Yeah.
So without knowing who he met with, right? But I will tell you, our indigenous people in the state of Nevada were the schools, the tours that I've done as an assemblywoman in the schools where they took the children away from their native family and cut their hair and stuff. The history that I have found out about is not a happy story. So, you know, with him coming out and apologizing, I just don't know what he's apologizing for. He wasn't clear. And so you know, he wasn't clear. So
no, he wasn't.
What is it that, and I understand, one thing about me is there's no teleprompter here and I speak from my heart, right? So when I give someone an apology, you know, it's from the heart and it's poignant.
Yes. Last thing before we close up the show. Public education here doesn't have a great reputation. You saw the fiasco that went on with the Clark County School Board. They fired our superintendent.
Those 4 members that fired Dr. Hara are morons, and I hope other people are going to step up and get them out of office. Total, utter moron individuals, period. Sorry, not so sorry. Yeah.
Enough said, I guess, but what would you do as governor? And this is not just peculiar to Southern Nevada. It's through the whole state. People want to come here. They come here and they move away. Why are you moving away? Well, I can't afford my house, or the education system here sucks.
So
what are you going to do to get our education better?
So here's what I'm going to do, because we did it before. We did it in 13, we did it in 15. Now the administration's changed and they shut it down. The tax dollar, the child's tax dollar that and children in our public school system, in our charter schools, get between $6,600 to $5,000 per year, per child, per student for the schools that they're zoned for. That tax dollar has to follow that child. And this is why. Let's say the child is special needs, they have different things, and their budget is $10,000 a year. And let's say their parents want to send them to Gorman. And let's say Gorman's $18,000 a year, right? That $10,000 a year needs to follow that child, right? And if the parents want to drive them and add to it, that's fine. Or let's say the child, let's say lives in my area in Centennial, but they want to go to a school in Midtown, right? In Las Vegas, city of Las Vegas, where I work on a daily basis. Now go to the school, register, right? And depending upon the slots, because school, and if you have to be on a waiting list for it, okay, right? But the tax dollar has to follow the child, so the parents are in charge. So let me tell you what's happening, parents, is you have governors who don't know iota about education, is dictating to where your child gets. Parents need to be able to parent and put their child where they need to go. The tax dollar needs to follow that child. As governor, I'm going to work with our legislators to say, listen, help these children, help them, and implement this. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they're our future.
They are our future.
Not only here, but
I have 7
grandkids.
grandkids. 7, Dennis.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is a busy time for you with Christmas coming up.
Absolutely. We just got all the lights finally done on the exterior.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Is the supply chain problem killing you with buying gifts?
Well, so here's what we do. So we order gifts, we watch them, and but we have backup. You know?
Okay.
We have backup.
Got a plan B. All right, that's great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to close it up, but before we do, tell everybody about your website, where they can get a hold of you if they want to donate some money, if they want to walk for you. Or do you have volunteers? Are people walking for you now?
Yeah.
Knocking on doors?
Yes.
Okay. Do you get them t-shirts and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, now it's hoodies because it's cold.
Oh, now it's hoodies.
It's hoodies.
Very nice.
It's red hoodies because it's cold.
Tell everybody where they get your website, where they get a hold of you.
So I am Michelle Fiore. You can go to michellefiore.com, and Michelle is spelled with one L, MICHELEFIORE.com. And once you go to my website, you can click contact there. You can give me your phone number, your email, what you want to do. There's a donate button on that page as well. And I would appreciate your support. I would appreciate you to share this, and I would definitely appreciate you letting folks know that I will fight for you as your next governor.
Well said.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for taking the time. It was great. I was really looking forward to it. And let's go wrap it up for another edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. And by the way, Michelle is familiar with golf. She has had a golf club in her hand, so
yeah, so
we could say that. And she's going to get back into it. She promised me.
So I'll play around with you. I ain't getting back into it, but I'll play around with you. So I hold that golf club, and I've been trained by tutors of golf, whatever. But my grip is more like a baseball bat, right? So that's how I grip it. That's how I feel most comfortable with it. I know I'm supposed to have my 2 fingers and all this other stuff. I know all those tricks and trades. And like I said to you, when we play, I'm probably going to suck because I haven't played since 2006. But I have to remind you, in 2006, I sucked too.
No problem. But you still drink beer.
But I do have a golf ball question for you. A friend of mine is trying to order golf balls with special saying on it, and he wanted to get the golf, and he called the golf ball place, and he wanted to get "Let's Go Brandon," and they literally refused to put this. So if you know of a company that will put "Let's Go Brandon" on the golf ball, I need you to call that person.
How many does that person want?
I'm going to have you call him.
Okay.
Yeah. "Let's Go Brandon" on the golf ball.
I will be happy to help out.
Perfect. Love it. Thank you.
I will be happy to help out.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to wrap it up again for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. We love bringing you to the show, and we love hearing from you. And we want to thank Michelle Fiore again, and best of luck in the race. And we're going to see you right back, same place, same time next week. So keep it in the fairway, everybody. So long.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.